Amber Heard denies wrongdoing after Johnny Depp trial. I made a lot of mistakes, but I've always told the truth. Amber Heard spoke with NBC News Savannah Guthrie on Tuesday, doubling down on her innocence and responding to many of the claims made about her during her trial against former husband Johnny Depp. When referencing the verdict, in which Depp largely came out the winner, Heard said that the process has been surreal and difficult. "This has been a long time coming." Asked by Guthrie about her words in court, Heard said, "To my dying day, I'll stand by every word of my testimony." That said, Heard also referred to the trial as the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. "I've never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human." Regarding the social media circus surrounding the trial, Heard said, "I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid. Every single day I pass 3, 4, sometimes 6 city blocks lined with people holding signs saying 'Burn the witch, death to Amber.' After 3.5 weeks, I took the stand and saw a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized." When referring to the UK trial that Depp lost, Heard said, "There was another trial that dealt with the same substantive issues and had even more evidence and in fact, my evidence was largely kept out." But Heard said Depp's victory came because his lawyers did a better job at distracting the jury from the real issues. When asked about people watching the trial that might think both stars are to blame, Heard said, "I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment rights to speak." She also adding her own interpretation of the First Amendment, saying, "It's a freedom to speak truth to power, and that's all I spoke. I spoke it to power and I paid the price." When asked about accusations in court that she was acting on the stand, Heard struck back, saying, "Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the performer? I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating or saying quite directly that I'm a terrible actress, so I'm a bit." Speaking about the alleged abuse in their relationship, Heard said, "I never had to instigate it, I responded to it." When you are living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to, you have to adapt. When Guthrie pushed back, saying that Heard spoke of starting fights on recorded audio, Heard said, "I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation of how to talk about that with your abuser." Guthrie continued by reading some of said transcripts, to which Heard responded, "As I testified on the stand about this, when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic psychologically, emotionally and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying, because it's anything but when you're living in it." When Guthrie asked about Depp's denial that he never hit her, and if that statement was a lie, Heard said, "Yes, it." Ending the interview, Heard said, "I made a lot of mistakes, but I've always told the truth." In a clip released yesterday from the interview, Heard called out the extensive social media frenzy that surrounded her case, calling it unfair. On social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, users latched onto the case and made posts ridiculing Heard's lawyers and her own testimony. Depp, on the other hand, was seen favorably in the eyes of many social media users, with the TikTok hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp bringing in 20 billion views. The hashtag Justice for Amber Heard has received 27 million views. "I don't care what one thinks about me or what judgments you want to make about what happened in the privacy of my own home, in my marriage, behind closed doors," Heard explained. "I don't presume the average person should know those things. And so I don't take it personally." She continued, "But even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair. A Virginia jury found that Heard defamed Depp in 2018 when she wrote a Washington Post op-ed alluding to being a victim of domestic. The jury awarded the Pirates of the Caribbean star $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages, reduced to $350,000, in accordance with the state's statutory cap. The jury also found that Depp defamed Heard, through his attorney, awarding her $2 million in compensatory damages for her counterclaim.